Hi, welcome to another video from Far North Bushcraft and Survival. This is a requested video. Somebody asked me how I use chaga for tea, or how I use it. So that's what this video is going to be about. Hi, I'm Lonnie, or otherwise known as Fresh Air on YouTube. And I got some chaga here that I've had for a while, and I'll show you how I process it. Okay, what I did was I took a board out of my shop and I sanded it clean, sanded it real smooth. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it inside of a cooler. I've got this cooler all washed out, and I've been harvesting some chaga in it already, as you can see from the dust here. Now what you're going to want to do first is I used the black stuff as well as the inner brown part of the chaga, but a lot of the times you'll find stuff that you don't want in there, such as part of the tree bark. So we'll trim that off first. And how I process the chaga is with a hatchet. So we'll chop this off and get rid of it. Okay, that's ready to start processing. So I'll be back in a little bit after I've dumped out the cooler of this stuff we don't want. Okay, we're back and we're ready to start processing the chaga. It is fairly hard, so this seems to work the best for me. Okay, rather than chop up that whole thing, I'll just continue on. The bigger pieces you'll want to re-chop into smaller. Process them up into, I don't know, marble size or less. Okay, now I dump these out into a bowl, and here's some that I've got already ready for the next step. Now what I do is I take an electric coffee grinder, and I put a little bit in each time. That's probably enough right there. And then grind it. Okay, you don't want to grind it all up, every bit of it, because if you do, it's going to be too much of a powder. So I just grind it for just a little bit, about as long as you saw me grind it. Now, when I pull the lid off, it's going to be really dusty for a little bit. What I do now is I dump it into this sifter. You can see larger chunks in there as well as the smaller powder. I just sift it into this bowl and then dump the bigger pieces back in to grind it for the next time, and add more to it as I did before, and grind that up. Okay, now after you've got it ready, that's ready. That's how we use it. And what we do is, I've got a coffee filter here, and I use 2 rounded teaspoons, slightly rounded. and pour boiling water over it. And I don't like things real hot. I can't handle real hot things, so I let this steep for probably a minimum of 10 minutes. Sometimes I let it steep for a half hour if I'm busy doing something else. And as you can see, it colors the water pretty quickly. So we'll come back here in a little bit when it's ready to drink, and I'll show you that. Okay, it's been probably 10 or 15 minutes here. This is steeped long enough. One thing I forgot to mention before is, what is chaga? Some of you who are watching this are probably wondering, well, what in the world is chaga? It's a fungus that grows on birch trees. It's fairly rare, and it's quite tasty, made up as a tea, and it's very medicinal. It's one of the highest antioxidants known to man. It's quite anti-tumoral. It's used in cancer. It has been used for cancer therapy. Now for the tea, this is, like I said, it's been probably 10 or 15 minutes. And it's ready. Now you can reuse the chaga. I usually reuse it once. Later in the day I'll steep this again as is, but it ends up being about half the strength of the original. So one more shot at this and then I toss it out. I think it's pretty good just by itself, but occasionally I'll just have a sweet tooth and want some sweetener in it. So since this chaga comes from the birch tree, I thought how appropriate. One of the best sweeteners is a teaspoon of birch syrup that me and my wife made several years ago. It sweetens it up real well and tastes great. To tell you the truth, I find it actually more pleasant than coffee. To drink this black, or to drink coffee black, I would prefer the chaga. Well, that's it, and I hope you learned something, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.